You know, sometimes a single conversation can tell you everything, not just by what's said, but by what's fiercely, passionately denied. So today, we're going to dissect one of those conversations, a recording that gives us a fascinating look right inside the anatomy of a denial. And it all really boils down to this one incredibly direct question that an investigator puts to someone connected to a suspected scam. It's a simple yes or no question, and it's designed to cut right through all the noise.
And the answer, just as direct. A single word, no. But it's how firm this denial is, and what comes right after, that really starts to unravel the whole thing.
Okay, so for a little context, you need to know this wasn't just some random call. An investigator was actually contacting a bunch of different people connected to an alleged investment scammer named Ghazala Din, trying to figure out what was really going on.
So the investigator reaches out to 10 people, just 10. And they were hoping, a pattern would show up, and oh boy, did it ever. Just maybe not the one you'd expect.
And yeah, a pattern definitely emerged. I mean, just look at this. Out of those 10 people, a whopping 8 of them confirmed they'd been scammed. But then there were two people who gave what the investigator basically called dodgy or suspicious denials. They stood out from everyone else.
So what is it that makes this denial so suspicious? Well, to get that, we have to look at the mechanics of the scam itself. What's really fascinating here is that during the call, the investigator lays out the entire blueprint of the scam to the person on the other end of the line.
It's a pretty classic 3-step playbook, really. Okay, so first up, you've got the promise. You give them your investment money, they promise you these amazing high monthly returns. Then comes the hook. For the first couple of months, they actually pay you. It's just enough to build your trust. And then the big one, the stall. All of a sudden, the payments stop, and you're hit with this endless cycle of excuses. Next week, end of the month, that just never ever materializes.
So after explaining all of that, the investigator just asks this simple but really powerful question. He's just described the exact same thing that happened to 8 other people. Does any of this ring a bell?
And right here, this is the fork in the road. This is the exact moment where the story from the 8 victims and the story from this one person just go in completely different directions.
So the investigator pushes a little more, right? He connects that scam blueprint directly to this person's situation. He's basically asking, is this what's happening to you too? Are you getting the same runaround? The same excuses?
And the response, it is immediate. It is forceful. It's not just a no, it's a no. No, she's not doing that with me at all. And this just perfectly highlights the problem. I mean, how can one person's experience be so completely, fundamentally different from 8 other people?
Okay, and this is where the suspicion really starts to pile up. To really see what I'm talking about, let's just put these 2 totally different realities right next to each other.
All right, so on one side, you've got this super consistent story from 8 different people. Big promises, a few payments, and then bam, a brick wall of excuses. And on the other side, you have this one person's account, no delays, no excuses, just this simple, confident claim that she's going to pay me. I mean, these 2 stories just can't both be true at the same time.
You know that weird, jarring feeling you get when you hear 2 stories about the same thing and they just don't line up at all? Well, there's actually a term for that. It's called narrative dissonance. And let me tell you, more often than not, that feeling is like a giant flashing neon sign pointing toward a truth someone's trying to bury. It's definitely a pattern to keep an eye out for whenever a story just feels off.
But wait, what happens next? This might just be the most revealing part of the entire call. The conversation takes this sudden, sharp turn. It's a psychological flip that honestly comes completely out of nowhere.
So right after denying he is a victim, the person on the phone says this, and it's totally unprompted. The investigator hasn't accused him of anything like this, hasn't even hinted at it. This whole idea, it comes 100% from the person on the phone.
This right here is a classic psychological move. It's called a preemptive defense. Basically, they're anticipating an attack that hasn't even been launched yet, and they're jumping to defend themselves against it. So whenever you hear something like that, you got to ask yourself, why? Why did their mind immediately jump to that conclusion?
Let's just break down this bizarre leap in logic for a second. So the investigator asks, are you a victim? The person says no. And their very next thought is, oh, so now you're going to say I'm an accomplice? They literally draw a straight line from their denial to an accusation that was never even made. It's a really fascinating and yet deeply suspicious train of thought.
So the conversation pretty much ends there. Nothing gets resolved, but it leaves all of us with a really powerful question to think about. You know, we're always told to listen to what people say for clues, but this call, it shows us that sometimes the most revealing clues are in what people deny and in the accusations they cook up in their own minds. It really makes you wonder, right? In our own lives, at what point does a really strong denial stop being a defense and start becoming a massive red flag all on its own?